Or now what?
Okay, I will call this meeting of March the 16th Legislative Committee meeting to order. First thing on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. I'll take a motion for that. Thank you, Councillor Waters. Is there any additions or deletions? I'll just let you know that the delegations will be at the back end of today. We're having MP Shannon Stubbs as a conversation with the council, so it'll be at 4:30 that we'll be able to talk to her. So, seeing no hands, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next up, the adoption of the minutes of our last regular legislative meeting. Councillor Warwick, thank you very much. Is there any errors or omissions within those minutes? Seeing no hands, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, first up, Mr. Phil Rowe, Community Services Director, Vegreville Senior Housing Community Project.
Thank you, Worship and Council. Can you hear me fine? This is a letter that was sent to Valid on March 11th, 2020, and it was CC'd to yourself and Town Council and myself. To Dear Lana, this letter refers to the project plan of creating a community park green space, along with your email of February 10th, 2021. Vegreville Senior Housing Board held a meeting on March 9th, 2021, and discussed the project plan further. The board decision is that they are not interested in participating or becoming a partner in relation to this project. The board wishes to thank you for the consideration. Yours sincerely, Janine Choquette from the CAO of VEG Senior Housing. So the VEG Senior Housing was never an official partner for the grant. This is Valid putting this grant, and the town is the partner. We were basically just looking for support from VEG Senior Housing that this park would benefit their residents being so near to them. But we haven't asked for them for any financial support. There's no work for them to do. Basically, it was just to support the park project beside their facilities.
So was it explained to them in that manner?
I believe so. But yeah, they haven't been formally asked to do anything other than basically support the project. That's all. Because the community gardens, the park setting would directly benefit them being right beside their facilities.
So what I read is the board decision is that they are not interested in participating or becoming a partner in this project. And or ask them, it's just that they think it's a good idea is what we're looking for, right?
Yes, and my understanding was that it was a good idea. We're not asking them to do any work. Like there's like from the board perspective, there's nothing. It's the seniors that live in VEG Senior Housing that they have access to this park. It will become a town park. We will do the maintenance on the park, and the community gardens that is Valid that was going to use that as vocational training to keep a maintenance on the gardens. So there is no formal request other than support. So I just haven't had a chance to meet with Janine to discuss this. So,
okay, Councillor Barry, you had a comment?
It struck me that they may not have clearly understood what they were being asked, because I'm quite certain the location there, the seniors living in their complexes would be quite interested in at least wandering through and enjoying the area, if not maybe even gardening in the area. So I think maybe we should follow up and get some clarity on it so that they understand that by supporting it, they're not becoming a partner or committing to financial support.
Who's the president of VEG Senior Housing now? Is that Fiona Sorkin?
I believe so.
Well, maybe we should reach out to Fiona.
Okay, like I say, I just haven't had an opportunity to speak with Janine on it. I know Janine well, so like I say, it's for the grant to have VEG senior housing as in support of it. It just because it checked off a lot of the boxes on the grant that we were including the seniors group in this park. So
who did we send the letter to originally?
Actually, the letter came, the discussion was Valid because Valid is the one applying for the grant, not the town. So
Did Janine take it to the board or did Valid take it to the board? Who took it to the board?
I believe it was Janine through, like Valid would have sent the letter to the board for their consideration. So
that's why I'm asking you to reach out to the chair of VEG Senior Housing, because somehow something got misinterpreted.
okay,
They're not looking for a partner, or are they interested as a partner? You know, what they're looking for is just that they think it's a good idea.
okay,
I'm sure that Fiona Sorkin is the new chair, so.
okay. I will do that.
Okay. Anybody else have any more comments regarding the letter from VEG Senior Housing? Okay, next one up, Bill.
Okay, this letter is to Mayor and Council, and I guess it shouldn't be a request for council decision at this point. It's not a formal one, but so the Vegreville Cares Coalition has a proposal that was brought to me, and I asked for a letter to council for some discussion. So the proposal is a downtown kickoff celebration street closure for Saturday, June 5th, 2021. The Vegreville Cares Coalition mission is to build capacity for community wellness through partnerships, education, and awareness. And it goes on to list all the coalition members. The background: after a year-long coping with the global pandemic, the Vegreville Cares Coalition identified the need to bring the community together to build capacity through connection and strengthening relationships among our residents. This initiative is funded by the AHS Better Together Strengthening Community Action, the Capacity Building Fund initiative. Our goal: to strengthen relationship in neighborhoods while promoting diversity, inclusion, and safe communities, all while building hope. After witnessing the turnout from the events such as the downtown Halloween event, past Family Day, and outdoor movie nights, it was clear folks enjoy and appreciate outdoor events that bring the community together. The downtown kickoff is the first step in building capacity, followed by recruiting community champions and promoting neighborhood block parties. The event will be in the downtown area and will include the coalition and local organizations set up activity stations using the theme Connections, Strengthening Relationships, and Building Hope, participation from businesses, recruiting community champions to be the leaders in the neighborhood and organize neighborhood parties, providing healthy individual wrapped snacks, live music, COVID-19 safety measures as directed by the government of Alberta at the time of the event. The communication strategy: the Vegreville Cares Coalition subcommittee would be responsible for contacting Public Works to determine the street closure management. Also, they will inform the residents and businesses in the area with flyers the week before the event. So the Vegreville Cares Coalition, their recommendation is they're looking for the town council to support the downtown kickoff celebration event and approve the closure of the following streets between 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. on Saturday, June 5th, 2021. And that's 50th Street from 50th Ave to 52nd Ave, and 51st Ave from 50th Street to 49th. And there's an attached map. So basically the exact same as the Halloween event, Main Street north of the highway, and from the Bank of Montreal to the Co-op corner. So.
Okay. What do you guys think? Go ahead, Councilor Riddick. You can start us up.
Sorry, can I just ask a few questions? I feel like maybe I missed the first part of the story. So this sounds like a great community event. Is it kicking off the start to summer? Is this a partnership with FCSS? I know that FCSS in the past had talked about doing roving block parties so that communities or neighborhoods would connect with one another. Is this kind of that initiative?
Yes, so this is just Behavioral Cares Coalition is a group of many groups within the community that are spearheading this specific event to, I guess, get the whole summer going, and hopefully the COVID restrictions will be lessened and we can start building relationships and getting back to some sort of normal.
Okay, Councillor Lemko.
Yeah, Tina, just a question. Is this part of that $5,000 grant that had was tied to exactly what Phil was talking about? First stage was the kickoff event that was downtown, and there was another stage, and the last one was neighborhood block parties. I believe there's
That's
5,000.
funny. I was thinking the same thing. So I was just going to double check with Phil because it looks like the same writing on the same information. Is that correct, Phil?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Go ahead, Councillor Barry.
I could see myself supporting this. I think it'd be a very good idea. I'm just not certain about the communication strategy where they're going to inform the residents and businesses in the area with a flyer the week before the event. I'd feel more comfortable if I knew that the businesses were on board before we approved the closure of the streets.
And yes, I agree. After looking at this, we'll have this out on social media. We'll be promoting it long in advance of one week. So,
But not in advance of us voting on it.
well, when the actual street closure comes, that'll be an RCD specifically from me. So you're saying you'd want to get the business approval first?
I do believe that for the Halloween event, there was discussions along the street with the businesses to know that they were on board with it before the street closure was actually approved. It seems to me that I would not really want to close the street and then tell the businesses that the street was closed, because I think that would be the backwards way of doing it.
Okay, I'll talk with the Cares Coalition and have them pull the downtown businesses. And like I say, this is not a formal request. This is a letter to council looking to support the concept of it. And then, of course, the road closure, but we'll have a formal RCD in place for the actual closures. And I'll make sure that we have the business support in prior to that.
Well, looking at the Brady Bunch here, looks like nobody is going to be against it as long as all the restrictions that Alberta Health has in place at the times are being respected. So whatever planning the pre-planning they need to do, and we just got to be very careful that when we do get to that date, hopefully our community will be in a situation where our COVID situation will be under control, and hopefully the amount of seniors and at-risk people will be vaccinated, and it was something that we can host here. So, but I don't see anybody saying, oh, sorry, Councilor Rudick, you're not saying no to this, but you just like a comment. Okay.
I actually just had another question because I think all of us are looking forward to being able to celebrate in a safe way together and bring out community members. And the number of people that they've listed here as their coalition is numerous and across many sectors and age groups, which I think is great. I just wanted to circle back to what Councillor Warwa and Councillor Lemko talked about, a grant. I'm not familiar. Like, I feel like I'm sort of catching up halfway through. So can we just circle back to what they had said?
On what the grant is?
Yeah.
It was specifically, I think, through FCSS. Councillor Ward, do you know exactly about I know briefly about the grant, but
Yeah, Julie had just briefed us on a number of grants that she applied for through the FCSS, and one of them was for this opportunity, and she just kind of updated. Oh, well, I might have some more too, because I wasn't on the morning meeting too.
Yes, the grant was applied for through FCSS, who supported the grant, and it was the Stronger Together Community Capacity Grant for addiction prevention, and the champion was the Vegreville Cures Coalition. So we were successful in receiving $5,000 for a 3-phase project. The first phase being the community downtown kickoff celebration, which we're talking about right now. The second phase is a Mocktail Station, which they're going to have individuals and families have flower pots and plant seeds in the pot. And the seeds will sprout new life and signs of a new beginning and hope for what is to come. And it's going to encourage families to keep their flower pots outside the front of their homes and show they are part of a community promoting hope for the days ahead and the future. And then there will be the third part is the community of champions, and that's the kickoff party. And they're going to recruit 10 community volunteers and hoping to do that block party. So to make the community more aware of the coalition, perhaps recruit more coalition members, some community capacity building, and just to give ourselves a big group hug, apparently is what it is. A great event, a great opportunity for Vegreville. So.
And if I could, Councillor Barry, the Vegreville Chamber of Commerce is one of the coalition stakeholders in this event. So I'm sure they will be able to assist in getting the business approval, but I would imagine Michelle is on top of that prior to having the discussion for this.
I'm quite certain it'll all take place.
Okay, well, we can get back to them, Phil, and let them know that as long as everything stays status quo and the Alberta Health says that it's fine to go ahead, we're on board. Thank you very much. Next up, I guess Dale's got nothing. Cliff Craig, Town Manager.
Okay, this is a letter from Alberta Municipal Affairs Minister. This letter is to inform you of changes of the Government of Alberta's Disaster Recovery Plan, or the DRP, which are in effect for DRPs that occur in 2021 and onward, and are outlined in the 2021 Disaster Assistance Guidelines. In response to the rising cost and frequency of disasters in Alberta, we have made changes to the DRP. These changes are intended to share the responsibility of disasters with all those who are impacted and to make the program more sustainable for future events. Changes will ensure that assistance is available for Albertans when they need it most. While conditions for eligibility remain the same for qualifying applicants, the following cost-sharing arrangements and funding limits have been added to the program. Local authority and private sector applicants, including homeowners, we are implementing a 90-10 cost-sharing arrangement. DRP assistance is limited to 90% of eligible disaster expenses instead of 100%. The remaining 10% of eligible assistance will be subtracted from the amount payable to the applicant. No payment to the program will be required. Homeowners only. We are implementing a funding limit of up to $500,000 per homeowner application and a limit on assistance to a one-time per property. For disaster events that occur in 2021 onward, qualifying homeowner applicants will only be able to assess DRP assistance once per property address. Financial assistance from the property will not be provided, financial assistance from the program will not be provided to future applicants who own property at the same physical location. The one-time funding limit is not cumulative. For example, if an applicant has received $100,000 worth of assistance under the new policy, they would not qualify for any funding in the future. This change will not be applied retroactively. If a homeowner has received assistance before 2021, this does not count as meeting the one-time assistance limit. Homeowner addresses that receive DRP assistance will be posted online to the Government of Alberta website to provide transparency about DRP funding limits and up-to-date information for prospective homeowners, developers, and real estate professionals. The funding received stays with the property. Therefore, a new homeowner would not be able to assess disaster recovery funding for that same property in the future. Being prepared improves individual and community resilience by lessening the impacts of disasters, shortening recovery time, and reducing economic disruption. Individuals and communities are encouraged to take measures to prepare disasters and to look at ways of reducing their disaster risks. Learn how you can prepare for emergencies and disasters by visiting us at alberta.ca emergency preparedness. Please refer to the enclosed information for more information on changes to the disaster recovery program. Sincerely, Rick McIver, Minister.
Thank you, Cliff. Wow, that's an about face on something. We'll start with Councillor Warwa.
Sorry, Cliff, I'm just wondering, do you know if it's on their website as to like what they list exactly as disaster? Are they saying it's literally natural disaster, or I'm just wondering if you know that?
I haven't seen any information at this point.
Okay, Councillor Rudy.
So Minister McIver was speaking this morning to RMA and talked specifically about this. And I guess we would want to keep a close eye on this, because speaking with some of the councillors from Wood Buffalo, for example, those residents in 1 year had a fire and a flood. But by the definition of this provincial legislation, you only get one time in the life of the property. So let's say the same homeowner in our community, God forbid, would have a fire and a flood in the same year. They might only be eligible for one of the two instances. And if they sold it, and God forbid the next year there was another disaster, the subsequent owner would never be eligible either. I see a lot of gaps in this proposal. There is a proposal right now. FCM is advocating for disaster management federally, because I think that's where the marriage needs to be between both federal and provincial funding, but there are still people that are not being served by this disaster programming. So I don't know if we know enough, but just listening to Minister McIver this morning was very concerning.
Well, it seems like the province is developing new policies to get themselves out of some trouble. And by issuing building permits to flood zones repeatedly, and then having to buy those properties back and let somebody build again. So now they're putting the legislation in to cover their own butts for the mistakes that they've made. I guess municipalities are going to have to take a lot more responsibility when it comes to fire and around their outer limits. I would hate to own a house that had received some assistance during this new policy, because to try to sell that house again would be one tough job, I'll tell you that. What about hail? Hail is nothing nobody can do about. Living in a flood zone or living close to the edge of a large forest, you can expect some natural disasters, but hail, I don't know, it has a lot of holes in it. And like I said, I'm sure that it's going to have to be almost registered untitled, that they've received some emergency assistance before at that house, and then try to sell that house in the future. There's a lot of problems. Reading this, I couldn't believe it. It's, because the province is the one that provides those building permits, especially in flood zones. And, they've made a lot of mistakes over the years and cost all of us a ton of money, but I don't think this is very well thought through, I'll tell you that. So, anybody else have any comments? Okay. Has anybody here ever been involved in a situation where they received disaster relief? Oh, okay. Well, yeah, like anything happens in the Wood Buffalo area, that special status they have up there, and my God, they would be in a wreck for sure. Okay, thank you. Next up, Cliff, we have Southeast 17 naming contest.
Right. So the contest naming closes this week. So I'd like to know what council would like to do for the next steps. So we have a number of entries, submissions, and we can certainly summarize them. Do you want the top 5 brought back and then put back to the community, or what would you like to have done with the entries?
How many do you have so far, Cliff, altogether?
Between 50 and 60.
Would everybody like to see 50 and 60 and then take it down to their top 10 and submit it back to Cliff, and then we'll take it to the community, or what are you guys thinking?
We can summarize it for you because I think some are duplicates.
Oh,
so
yeah.
We can, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can put a summary together and then send the list out if that's the preference.
So is everybody okay with that? We get the list. If there's some duplicates, let's take the top 5, each person send it back, and then we'll communicate it to the community and figure out how we're going to have some input from the community on our decision.
Okay.
I'm not seeing any no to that. So is everybody okay with that, or is there a different method? By the looks of things, Cliff, that's the way we'll run her.
Okay, good.
Okay, thank you. Next up is mine. So I sent everybody, it was just a text anyway, and I've talked to admin about this a little bit, about this AUMA Spring Municipal Leaders courses, about maybe hosting it here. So it would be April 14th and 15th, I think the dates are. So if we were to keep going with step 1, step 2 in the process of reopening, Phil, where will we be at that time? Would we be allowed to have 25% capacity at the social center as long as we were showing the proper distancing and wearing a mask?
And what was the timeline?
April the 14th.
So yeah, we would be at 25% unless they increase or decrease the restrictions by then. Because I think the next update is for April 6th. Would be the next 3-week update. So we might see something by then in terms of groups in facilities and churches, those types of buildings.
Even if it went backwards a bit, Phil, to where it was at 15%, what would the capacity at the social center at 15%?
I didn't know I was going to have a math exam today, but
Well, we could probably easily say that it would still be over 45 people. Okay.
Yeah, about 78.
Okay. 78 would be the lowest. So I had a conversation and Sandra gave me a few ideas. And Sandra, how would we pull this off regarding a couple of screens and lunch and stuff? What were your thoughts there?
To accommodate the social distancing required, we would look at setting up about 3 screens along the east wall of the social center with projectors allowing everybody, because we'll have to space out the tables. There's a limited amount of people available, able to sit at a table with the social distancing. And that will give everybody a view of the events that are and the courses that will be going on. And as for any kind of beverages, snacks, because they're mostly morning courses, we would have everything individually plated and saran wrapped or pre-packaged. So nobody, there's no dishing out of anything. You just take your stuff and you go to sit at your table and you can have your coffee and your muffin.
So it wouldn't matter that, let's say a table was all from the same council, they would still have to have the social distancing at each table, right? And wear a mask.
Yes, they would have to, unless they're immediate family and live in the same household, they would have to social distance at the table and have their masks on, unless drinking coffee or eating.
Okay. The reason I bring this up is, like there's a lot of smaller municipalities around us, and we offer services to them, and we're sort of a leader in this northeastern corridor here when it comes to a lot of things. And I think that if we're capable of it, we should get back into that role that we've always served. So just wonder what your guys' thoughts are, and you want to send out some invitations, or there would be some cost to go along with this. And of course, it would have to be shared amongst each municipality that wanted to take us up on it. But just wanted to get what your guys' thoughts were. So. Okay, we'll start with Councillor Barry and then Councillor Waters.
Well, I think that it would be a good idea to be able to host something of this nature. I think that it can be done in a manner that would meet the safety requirements. I had a question as to whether this is not a social gathering, but I would expect that the size limit would still apply even to a group of councillors. The one other question I had, though, there's no voting aspect to this caucus, is there? Where we would need individual screens in order to be able to, this is just strictly a session where we're viewing presentations and et cetera.
I do believe so. I mean, with the internet capability anyway, everybody will be able to bring their own laptop.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah, just to have it projected, because there may be questions of individual municipalities or councillors that they would use their laptop for. But just that we'd all be sort of sharing the one wall is the way that I was looking at it. So, Councillor Waters.
Yeah, I was just going to say this is kind of, but not really the same lines as the Vegreville Cares Coalition. Small baby steps, taking in the precautions for sure. The Zoom meetings are difficult, and then as a group, we may have questions amongst ourselves that would be prudent to be asked. So I'd be in favor of going forward with this. I don't think there would be much of an issue, much of a problem with it.
Okay. Well, I'm not seeing anybody saying a hard no. I mean, it would have to be done right, and I think we'd be able to show that these things are possible, and hopefully by then there'll be I would hope that at least there'll be a lot more vaccines out within the next month, and where the numbers would be coming down, and we would encourage anybody that is not feeling well, please do not attend. But so how far of a reach would you recommend that we reach out to? We'll be looking at that are only within our own riding, provincially, riding federally, some of the other municipalities that we share a lot of common interests with. What are your thoughts there? Councillor Riddick.
So I think the math is going to be the determinant here. Even if you had 100% attendance, let's say from 5 councils, that would be, ostensibly 7 times 5, that'd be 35 people plus their staff. So 40 people probably, give or change. So if we were just to take a look at our immediate neighbors, that would probably be appropriate. I think this is a great idea if we can make it work. I just would want to be sensitive to the fact that we're still not able to gather in significant numbers for funerals. And so we just want to be sensitive. I understand that this is a work venture, and we do need to make sure that we continue to assert our presence in the local area. So if we were to look at some of our immediate neighbors to the east and the west, going up and down Highway 16, and some of our other small ones close by. So if you were to do Viking, Vermilion, and sort of do a ring around and then go to the west as well.
Okay, Councillor Lemko.
Your worship, I just looked at the agenda here, and there's only 3 hours per day. So Wednesdays from 3 to 6 and Thursdays from 9 till noon. And so is Friday, 9 till noon. And they're all educational sessions with some ministers' dialogue sessions on Friday. But doesn't look like any voting sessions, but they're only 3 hours per day.
But there will be ministers available after the sessions are over every day.
Yeah, I would imagine like usual.
Yeah. So, well, what do you guys think? We send out some notification to some municipalities, and let's say within Chipman, Lamont, Bundaire, Two Hills, Innisfree, Manville, Holden, within our regular little area around us, and see what the thoughts are. And I don't know, basically it wouldn't be more than a lunch and maybe some cookies or donuts and some coffee and a soft drink or two. I don't know how much it would add up to, maybe $15 a day or something like that. I don't know what the costs are to renting the screens and stuff, but maybe it's $25 a day, but it's for everybody to get together, and we can still do some good work with other municipalities standing 6 feet apart too. So go ahead, Councilor Warrow.
Yeah, I think it's a really good idea. I agree with kind of looking at our vicinity around, maybe including all of our provincial riding versus going to the federal. I would look at the neighbors around, just because unfortunately the way our riding pops up, well, both provincial and federal, Highway 16 is there, and yet we miss out such close neighbors like the Holdens and the Toefields and that. So I think that that's very good, but I do think that us going ahead and trying to show this would also be kind of making us stand out. The province has put forward a bunch of initiatives where they talk about working together and being regional and being leaders in that. So I think it would show something by us hosting it. So I don't think it could hurt, for sure.
And I was sort of imagining we'd have our MLA as a speaker one day, and maybe our MP, if she's not in Ottawa, as a speaker another day. And who knows, maybe there's somebody else we could, maybe we could ask a minister that's Edmonton to come out. There's possibilities. So I think that we're seeing no hard nose in the crowd here, that maybe we should send out a few invitations and see what we get back. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So Sandra, we'll talk about this some tomorrow at Cliff, and we'll figure out. Okay, Cliff and me will talk to Sandra and figure out what Sandra has to do. Sorry about that.
Sandra and I will get together tomorrow morning.
Okay, if you guys have any questions, give me a call. Even getting better. Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna head into our round table, and we're gonna start with Councilor Brodziak. What are you hearing?
I am hearing, well, we had our Rotary meeting at lunch today, and of course they're discussing the bike and skate park. They're getting ready to submit a second application for the CFEP grant, which is due, I think, in June of this year. So the request was, I think they had originally done a proposal to the town about 2 years ago, and they would like to revisit that and have requested to meet for 2 delegates from the Rotary Bike and Skate Park to meet with town council and do another presentation.
Okay.
So probably, I would imagine they would like to get this done quite soon so that they can get their application in. And that's all I have.
Okay. Councilor Warla.
I don't have a ton. I just have two little things. This isn't any specific area, but obviously they were bringing up some of the water with, which there's nothing we can do about with the quick melting, but I did hear from a couple of people just on our main road there. Obviously we've got the flooding across, and the question was, and I guess this is what I want to know, is when we have water flood across like that, does the province deal with it at all, or is it solely on our hands, I guess is my question.
What location is this?
Just when you're driving down our main street coming in through town, you know, before Synergy, there's that one house residence, and it's totally, the water was flooded right over the sidewalk on the road that goes past RGV, and there, it was just before that.
Okay.
So I didn't know whether the province deals with it being, you know, 16A coming through, or we did, but there was some question on that. The other thing is, I just wanted to let you know, Phil, I saw that the signs were up on the ODR letting them know that that the rink was closed and to stay off, but some kids had pulled it open again, and they were in there kind of rolling around on the cement. So we might want to put them back up and tape it off. That's all I got.
Okay, Dale. So the infrastructure for storm water removal on 16A is ours?
Yeah, that's correct. We look after the storm system maintenance.
Okay. So we typically, this time of year, we're running around with our
We've got the thawing machine, and it's out every morning. It goes out because it just, again, the last few days was actually cold enough to refreeze it overnight. Then we have to go open it up in the spring, in the morning again. But pretty soon the temperatures won't be doing that. It'll flow 24/7, and it is getting better out there actually.
That answer your question, Councilor Warla?
Yeah, for sure. I just wasn't sure what that was when on the Highway 16, whether we had to, but okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Councilor Waters.
Okay, I don't really have too much. It's been fairly quiet for me, but I do see people are a little more optimistic, a little more hopeful, seeing that the vaccine for COVID-19 is here in Vegreville. You can get it at our drugstores. I was at one of our local pharmacies yesterday, first day of rollout with it here, and they were flooded with phone calls for bookings. So it's good to see people are being proactive with that. And like I say, they're looking more hopeful, and spring being here too helps as well with the longer daylight hours. I don't know if anybody else is affected with daylight savings time, but I'm exhausted already, but it'll catch up. It'll be fine. So really, yeah, nothing much more from me, and that's it.
Might put you on the spot. So during the municipal elections, the premier announced that he's probably going to have a question to be answered. Are you in favor of keep changing the clocks, or do you want it to stay at one time? What do you feel? Do you feel that it's important to Albertans?
I think we need to leave it at one time.
So you feel that it's worthwhile for the province to put that on the ballot? That question.
I think so, yes. And it's not just being tired, it's schedules, children, pets, everybody.
Okay, we'll get everybody's thoughts before the next election, so I won't just be picking on you. Councilor Lemko.
Yes, Your Worship. I had a inquiry regarding a significant amount of water in the back alley. I did forward that to Cliff for his follow-up. I did do a drive through the alley mentioned, and drove through many others that are of the same amount of water. And I do thank Public Works for removing the vast amount of snow they removed out of the alleys prior to the spring thaw. Otherwise, we would have copious amounts of water, more than there is now. So I think we need to just remind the people to be patient, as this happens every spring, and that with time, it'll all dry up. I also had a meeting today with FCSS that I'd just like to bring you up to speed on. We did go over the COVID-19 well-being survey update and some of the numbers that came in. There's 250 surveys completed, and Jasmine Massey, our practicum student, briefed us on the findings there. It'd be very encouraging if she did that presentation once again, but this time to council as a delegation, that we can see the numbers and the needs that our community is facing with the well-being and mental health, and some of the findings there that we need to digest. I think it's very important. So if I may, maybe we can put her on as a delegation to the next ledge meeting or something that she can present to us. She's also doing another survey. This one is Welcoming, Inclusive, and Connected Communities. It's running from the beginning of March to the beginning of April. And there's some questions she's asking there. So far, they've had 33 respondents, and some of the findings are quite interesting. So that's another one. I believe I'm Talk of the Town this Thursday. I'm not, I believe, and I was hoping to maybe have Jasmine come and talk to the community a little bit about that survey and enlighten the public that it'd be important for them to fill out the survey, because what does welcoming, inclusive, and connected community mean means different to a lot of people. So it'd be nice if she could present that. She's done some good work for us, and we're very fortunate that she was here. I don't have much else. Thank you.
So would you say that maybe we could hold off and she could do both her presentations at the same time, or you think it would be too lengthy?
It might be. I'm not sure how long she's here. Phil, you might be able to let us know how long her practicum is.
To the base of the end of this college year, so I would assume at the end of April. But she does live here in Vegas, so that's probably something we could work on together.
Yeah, the COVID one was quite enlightening. There's a lot of data there, and it'd be interesting to see. And she summarized it, so I haven't seen the PowerPoint of the numbers, but there's some interesting information in there, and we need to look at it as a council.
You guys work it through. If you want to do it in two different presentations, you'll talk with Cliff and Phil, and you guys will figure it out and get it on the agenda for at least one part for next, and then one at the end of March. So whatever you feel is appropriate. So.
Okay, I'll talk to Jasmine.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Councilor Riddick.
Thank you. I just wanted to give a heads up to Phil and team. There were a couple of announcements about rural transportation as well as active transportation, both of which I think might be interesting funding pockets for us to consider in Vegreville. We've talked about being able to provide some kind of rural transportation for seniors within and outside of the community, and linking Vegreville to Edmonton or potentially other area communities, as well as inside the community, strengthening some of our walking trails and some of the areas that people have relied on throughout the winter. So I'll be forwarding some of that information to you, but those are some potential areas that might be important for us to look at. And in that vein, compliments and concerns about our walking trails. There's a lot of thawing right now. And so people are wondering who to refer those questions to. As much as I enjoy getting the calls about there being water on various walking trails, and I've experienced them myself, I'm not sure on a weekend that it's appropriate to be calling the one that's on call for the weekend, where there might be water collecting. So I wonder if we could share that with our public in a way that's easy on our various media streams to be able to say who they should be reporting to. Then I also had a few questions about reporting gatherings that people are gathering in home or out in public in too large of numbers, and they felt that I was the person that they should be reporting that to. I would rather direct them to somebody else. So I'm not sure what the answer to that question is. And then I just wanted to draw attention to this little note that everybody received from Canada Post. It's a prepaid postcard intended for Canadians, everybody, to be able to send a message. And I just wanted to, I don't know if everybody has recycled it already, but I received one too from somebody. So these are just personalized prepaid postcards sending a thank you note, sort of in the vein of what the CARES Coalition was talking about, making connections and making sure that people feel appreciated. So I just thought that was a nice little extra. And March is pharmacy month. So I just wanted to acknowledge all of our pharmacists, pharmacy techs, and our local pharmacies that are working overtime. It's been a very busy time for them during the pandemic, and particularly now as the vaccines roll out. So special thanks to them.
Okay, so I can answer a couple of your questions. People phoning you about water on the walking path. Well, they could, I don't know what they can do is get a hold of Mother Nature and tell her to smarten up. As the frost comes out of the ground, the water will dissipate a lot faster. So we have a lot of problems with water on our streets too, and we have crews out night and day trying to take care of that right now. So, and as far as people complaining to you about gatherings, well, I get a lot of those calls, and I expect to, being the mayor. And I always try to tell people to be respectful of each other. And if it is a problem, that it's something that warrants discussion with law enforcement, then that's who they should be phoning. That's how I usually deal with those. Thank you for your report, though. Thank you. Councillor Barry.
Thank you, Your Worship. Not a great deal, a few puddles of concern, but as we will have the crews out there opening up those manholes so that some corners aren't sitting with some water in them. It's not bad. The one area that was brought to me is people are noticing that signs are going up about the Vermilion River Bridge. I'm hoping that some more information from transportation would be going out so that people understand just what is taking place at that location, and that it won't be as large or long wait for the road to reopen as what we experienced on the road going south. The only other thing is in conversations is the concern primarily about youth. A lot of youth are really having problems. So I appreciate what Councillor Lemko was referring to. I think that we're seeing the youth have just about gone as far as they can, waiting for things to improve so that they can get back with their lives. I think we're going to find that it's been affecting them a lot more than what we really realize. So I hope that we can certainly get around the corner here a little bit sooner and let them start enjoying their lives a little bit more. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you all for what you do. And that may be a perfect discussion to have about the bridge on the talk of the town coming up here right away, with some facts in about the two different types of bridges on the same river, and build dates and completion numbers. So basically what I've had is the regular type of calls that I would get. A lot of people complaining. I know, I have a house in town that gets water in it too. And I know that I don't even phone Public Works because I know that they're just down the street and they're trying to catch up every morning. So we can only do what we can do. And I know they're trying hard. I do have a concern about the youth, and I've been contacted by a few different youth organizations about their AGMs moving forward and trying to get something moving. There's a lot of uncertainty in rural Alberta that we're going to be held to the same rules as Calgary and Edmonton, when there's a lot of disbelief that we shouldn't be there, that we are doing a good enough job on our own, that just because people move to small communities like Vegreville to enjoy the type of atmosphere and the type of lifestyle they can have here. Well, maybe the province should let us enjoy that because of the way that we've handled this pandemic. So I'm encouraging all youth groups, no matter who they are, to try to get together and have their initial meetings and try to build a plan to move forward right now for the season. And I know that there's anything that we can do to assist them as far as fields and stuff. And even if it's practicing 6 feet apart for right now, just to be ready. So if anybody talks to anybody that's in an organization and they're worried about what the thoughts of the town may be with their program moving forward, tell them, get a hold of us as quickly as possible and what their needs may be, because it is important that these young people get back out and get in the fresh air and get practicing and get back to things, some sort of normal things in their lives. So that being said, does anybody else have anything else they want to bring to this meeting? Because we have a couple of closed session items, and then we're going to come back out for 4:30 and continue our meeting with the delegation of MP Stubbs. So I would like to get a motion to go into closed session if I could. Councillor Warwa, thank you very much. Oh, Cliff.
Did you want to proceed with director highlights?
Oh,
I was gonna say.
go ahead. Yeah, sorry about that. I was just in a hurry to get going here. So we're going to start with Phil Rowe.
I actually don't have anything to report today. I will have more in the next ledge meeting for you all.
Thank you, Paul. Got nothing.
Phil.
No, I just made a joke. That's okay.
Oh, I got it.
Dale, go ahead.
As usual, working on Southeast 17. We should be at tender next week. We just got the last revision where we wanted to change just a couple things that will help us with the lift station if we have situations where the entire lift station should go down, or if the force main should fail, and give us better avenues to manage that than what we currently have with a 30-year-old lift station. So we're quite pleased with some of the technology. Not even technology, just good modern solid thinking that's going to help us out if we have an issue down the road. So we're working on that. Still working with ATCO Electric on streetlight outages. We're making some progress with it. I'd be nice if it was a little quicker, but I understand everybody's busy. And our application for Southeast 17, we've got the information from the county supporting our wetland project. So now that's been submitted. Will probably be submitted today. And then that would be the on-site portion of our 3-phase project is now moving forward again. We were waiting for that, so I'm happy they were able to help us out. And yeah, it's going well. You can see the picture behind my screen. That's how we cleared out that alley that Councillor Lemko got a complaint to the snow in the back. We went in there. That was a picture from Sunday, and we went and removed all the snow. And that's all I have, Your Worship.
So these redesigns are a little bit of forward thinking on the new lift station. So 30 years of, I wish I had this in place right now. Good thinking.
Yeah, everything we struggle on when we have issues with our current lift station because of its age, we're implementing just different piping, plumbing now to help us bypass it quickly, and so we're not so pressured with a limited amount of time to do a repair.
Excellent. Okay, Cliff, you're next. Oh, sorry, Councillor Barry, you want it?
I just wanted to ask Dale, in the near future, when the plans are completed on the wetlands, the engineered wetlands and et cetera, could you bring us a little bit more of a briefing as to just what all that entails? I think that's a very important thing that the community is doing, that we're maintaining that wetlands, and it will be incorporated into part of the design. As being with the Vermilion River watershed, that connects directly there. And I think that it would be good publicity for us to share that in the near future with the Vermilion River Watershed Alliance.
Yep, absolutely. As you can appreciate, we've just now got the approval to complete the design itself, but yes, for sure, we can share that information.
When it's available in the future, I'd like to see it.
You bet.
Okay, thank you. Cliff?
Well, I had the perfect segue before when you were talking about talk of the town. We need to update for a couple more months. So the next one is correct. It's Councillor Lemko. He's taping this week for airing on March 22nd. Then we're into Easter. So then from April and May, we do not have anyone listed yet. So the taping dates are April 8, 15, 22, and 29. And then May 6, 13, and 27.
Okay, so I would like to take the first one in April.
April 8, Tim, okay.
And I'll take Dale with me. We'll talk about the new bridge, what the people can expect. We'll talk about a couple of our capital works programs or projects for the summer and what the expectations are of people and how long before we get these jobs done and started. So you okay with that, Dale? Okay.
Okay, so the next one would be April 15.
Okay. Who hasn't been on for a while?
Oh,
I could probably do one. I could work with Anya and look at some sort of a jump into spring and what we could do in the community kind of thing.
Tourism a bit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. April 15th.
Excellent. Thank you, Tina.
sorry, I missed March 25th.
Okay.
Could I suggest that maybe we might have some introductions to the community that might be a good time to do on the 8th if we backed up the mayor
Okay.
a week? And I don't know if Councillor Brodziak would like to do that potentially. We've got a new manager that would be starting for economic development.
Actually, we have 2 new managers starting.
So
Yeah.
April 8th.
I don't know if that works for your worship, but I just thought that might be timing wise would work out well.
Well, if anybody's going to do some, I think it should be me, to tell you the truth.
Sure.
And with the plan, what our plan will be moving forward with marketing and so if anything, and Cliff and myself and should be introducing, or maybe just should be Cliff because it is hires. But that's what my thoughts would be. And we need to have a plan in place pretty soon too about how we're going to use these assets and get the ball rolling. So when is the 12th? Is that?
What about March 25? Can you and Dale do March 25th?
Oh, we certainly could. Yeah, that's no problem for me. I don't have nothing to get ready.
Does that work for you, Dale?
And the recording for March 25th would be on what day? Could it be the
recording is the 25th. It would air on the 29th.
I am good. I'm good to go for the 25th for recording.
Okay. We'll talk between now and then, Dale. We'll get something set up. So then there is an Easter break.
Okay, so then I'll do April 8 and introduce the 2 new managers.
Sounds good.
April 15 then will be,
Tina?
oh yeah, there's an Easter break in there, sorry.
Councillor Warwas.
Yeah, so then April 15 is Councillor Warawa.
Yeah.
So then we would have April 22 and 29.
Tim, not that I should do twice, or I could switch mine around if you'd prefer, but if we did April 29th, we could fold in the opening of the Vic Center. So if you want, I could do the 29th instead. If you want someone else to maybe take the 15th, we could do tourism and Vic then, maybe if you want.
Okay. Well, has anybody got anything else to speak of on the 15th? FCSS got anything happening, Gerald? Cal's, retention, recruitment, retention, anything to announce there? Anything move forward
Certainly we could find something.
from SCSS to bring forward?
Yeah, I think so. I believe we should probably do something with the volunteer week is coming up in the April.
Right, that'd be a good one there. So if we did that one on the earlier one, that'd probably be good.
I think
So
the
Councillor Lemko on the 8th, sorry, on the 15th?
Okay.
Then Councillor Warwa, yours is the, what date will that be?
Then I'll grab the 29th.
Okay.
So then we still have April 22 open.
I'll take April 22 and see if I can come up with something.
Okay.
Still got COVID that we haven't touched yet. The hospital, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
A little slip of language there.
Sorry.
But, sorry?
No, I was to say, sorry, I didn't realize you were still talking.
Oh, okay, so I'll try and come up with a topic on that one for sure.
Do you want to try and schedule May as well?
Well, Councillor Brodziak and Councillor Rudick need a date there to look forward to right now.
We
So-
also have Councillor Waters.
Yeah.
Been a while.
I did beginning of March,
Beginning.
position recruitment retention. I switched with Councillor Brodziak for that day.
Oh, sorry.
Councillor Brodziak wants to pick a day first because I see she hasn't been for a while.
Well, I just had Monday. This
Oh,
past
did you?
Monday.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay, but do we want to do anything? I know the chamber was going to do the talk of the town, not the talk of the town, the state of the town address. I don't know, something even, do we want to talk about our property taxes? They'll be coming out beginning of May. I'm not sure what other topics.
It should be out for sure by May 6/10. Okay.
You're the chamber rep, correct, Councillor Brodziak?
Yeah, yes.
So we could do that together if you want, do a little bit of the state of the town.
Sure.
Okay.
I don't think we've picked a date for, there was talk about having something in May. But either the 6th or the 13th.
Sure, let's just hold off on that until you have a conversation with
Sure.
and then we'll get back, either one of those dates, we'll grab that.
Okay.
Okay, and then we'll pick this up again next meeting, Cliff.
Okay, very good.
Then we can fill that in, and then moving forward, by that time, there may be some department, some knowledge that needs to be shared too, within each department too, and who knows, maybe the library wants to have another say in something here pretty soon.
Just out of curiosity, April 1st is nothing? Because it's,
Don't be such a fool.
Because of Easter Monday, the airing date,
oh, okay,
April 5th. So,
okay, just curious.
Okay,
okay.
we'll get back at this, and everybody will think about some more topics, and we'll be good.
Okay. Should I proceed with my report?
You should now, yep.
Okay. First item, as you're aware, communication and marketing manager recruitment. I'd like to announce that James Browning, AKA Jameson Brown, will commence his appointment with the town as the communication and marketing manager on April 6, 2021. Regional emergency management. I've been working on the regional EM bylaw and the regional EM partnership agreement. It's coming together quite nicely. Returning officer. Mark Varga will be unable to fulfill the role of returning officer as they are in the process of relocating to another community. Jenny Cooper has accepted the position as returning officer for the general municipal election this year. So, the meeting with MLAs Armstrong, Hominick, and Long scheduled for a Thursday this week. MLA Long is also the parliamentary secretary for small business and tourism. So if you have any questions that you'd like to ask, if you could forward them to Sandra by Thursday morning, and we'll try and put together a meeting agenda. A follow-up from a letter that we had received in February from the Minister of Municipal Affairs, and he referred to two acronyms, PERC and DIRC. So PERC is the Provincial Education Requisition Credit for uncollectible education property taxes on oil and gas properties. And DIRC is the Designated Industrial Requisition Credit for any uncollectible designated industrial property tax requisition. And those are both provincially administered programs. And just a note, I will be on vacation from March 26, returning to work on April 6.
So Cliff, did the minister say there was a acronym for collecting unpaid school taxes on residential?
No, it wasn't in that letter.
Wasn't a work? Okay.
So, okay, and I have one item for closed session.
Okay. Does anybody else get anything else before we take Councillor Rora's motion to go into closed session? All those in favor? Carry.